So for this first model, I decided to do the cigarette, and this one was actually quite simple. I started off with just some basic tube geometry, one for the white part and then one for the filter. Just kind of shrunk it and just increased the radius on it to fit across it. The tobacco was a little bit harder to do, but I just took a grid plane and took a bool of it and then put a mountain node on that to give it kind of like a mountainous kind of texture, just kind of chalky texture to it. After I got that model set up, I duplicated the tobacco and I added a pyrosim and pyro import to it and just set up some simple parameters there. And if you can see, there's a little geometry inside the tobacco, and that is for the ash to sprinkle out of the tobacco when the cigarette is lit, and that can be seen here in the source particles and the geometry here. I just put a simple particle emitter on that geometry, and if I go ahead and hit play here, the it starts to flick with flames and smoke comes out and little ash particles come down there. I'll zoom in a little bit so you can get a better look at that. But all in all, it was pretty nice and pretty easy to do. The next project I had to take on was the grass plains. This one was a little trickier because I've never really worked with grass before, but I decided to challenge myself with this, and I think for the most part turned out alright. I just got a simple grid or plane geometry, and I increased the number of rows and columns on it, and I just put a mountain sop on it and lowered the height, so it's a little it's got a little bit of depth to it, a little wavy here and there, as you can see. And after that, I just used a hair node, the hair sops, and I changed the color to green and kind of fading into like that brown when it gets near the dirt. And then within the hair node, I actually changed the density of the grass as well as the length and the height, and I even messed around with some randomizers just to kind of spread out some different patches of grass. Some are higher than others, some are the same height, some are shorter. So you can kind of see that as it kind of goes up over here in this area. It's a little lower down here, and then it kind of rises up here. And we'll kind of zoom in a little bit. It's a little laggy. There's a lot to look at. But yeah, the blade of grass is all across here in this plane. But for the most part, I think this turned out all right.